Today on TGI Monday, we're going to be talking about who the heck are you anyway?
Who are you?
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of TGI Monday. As we mentioned last time, some of us have been reading this book, Learning to Dream Again, as part of the Diocese Lent programme. And we're going to be talking about a section from it this week, a section about identity, and it's called Who Are You? So I thought we'd just begin by asking that question. Who are you? Zoe, who are you?
I am a wife, a mum and a priest.
Okay, Howell, who are you?
I'm a scientist, husband, father, priest, and metal fan.
Great. Dan, who are you?
I am a husband, I'm a dad, and I'm a curate, and I'm a creative.
Great. Simon, who are you?
I was going to use the word creative as well.
Get to be something else.
Technical creative, will that do? I mean,
do.
how to
Okay.
someone up in a sentence?
Well, that is the challenge, isn't it? Which obviously I'm not going to do because I get to ask the questions.
That is so shy.
Okay, I'm Roz. I don't know. What am I? I'm an online pastor. There you go. You can work that out for yourself. Okay, it is a big question though, isn't it? This question of identity in our culture. And I wonder particularly in the light of social media where people feel like they can maybe be in charge of their identity or be in charge of who people think they are. Is that something that you guys have noticed, that you feel is a thing, people presenting an image of themselves that maybe is slightly different from their real life identity?
I think it's not just on social media. I think social media just exemplifies and makes bigger something that already goes on in the world and in society. And I think that this idea that we have to kind of media manage ourselves in normal life is, I just can't be bothered. I just can't be bothered with it. It's just not a waste of time. So I just carry on.
There has been a sense, though, with a lot of young people, particularly when they've posted things on social media, like going to parties and some of the crazy things they do, they've suddenly found it much more difficult to get a job later because an employer has then gone back and looked at their photos.
I'm just glad we didn't have social media when I was in university in the 90s. I've seen some of those pictures and I'm just like, I've seen my flat and I'm just like, whoa, glad that hasn't gone up.
So I'm saying it's not unreasonable that people guard some of their identities for their own protection.
Yes.
You can't show everything to everybody all the time.
You don't want to see pictures of my flat in the 90s, mate. You really
So,
don't.
for instance, I have separate work and personal social media profiles on Twitter and on Facebook. And some of that is just about curating what people are likely to be interested in. So one of the things I do is write romance novels, and I just don't think that
I looked some of those up the other day.
all my romance writing and reading friends are necessarily going to be interested in all my sort of church and Christian related tweets, although some people follow both accounts, but also vice versa. I don't think it's really appropriate for me to be promoting my books on my work account.
And they're quite saucy, some
Well,
of those books.
they-
aren't they? I must read them. Check them out.
Hey, calm down.
But on
Making no
Facebook,
promises.
I do a
Already
different
got
thing.
3
I
kids.
do have them separate on Facebook as well. But that's a different thing. For me, my personal Facebook profile is private. And generally, it's only people that I actually know in real life who I'm friends with there.
Yeah.
And that's about making a safe space to talk about things that I wouldn't necessarily want to talk about publicly. So I think there are different ways, aren't there, of separating out parts of our lives online.
It's quite tiring as well, isn't it? I think actually there's a lot to be said for just having a place where you can just be you and where you don't actually have to care about what anyone else is thinking about you, because it's not even possible. If we tried to control what people thought about us, we would die trying and having failed spectacularly.
Yeah.
Which is, I have lately grown more and more in love with Psalm 139, that bit about you search me and you know me. And I think there's such a relief in being able to go, I haven't even got any words, but you know what's going on in me, you know how I feel about things.
Yeah.
And actually, God knows us more than we know ourselves. And I find that a massive relief, frankly, because you can just be.
But the thing is, though, if you're with someone who loves you, right, then you are comfortable to be yourself and you can be authentic with who you are. And I think that's the key thing. And that's the most wonderful thing, I think, about being a Christian, for me anyway, is that I can be who I am and I just don't have to care. And I think really, especially as a priest, if you walk around dressed like this, then people are going to think all sorts of crazy things about yourself.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about it. Because as soon as you start worrying about that, you'll drive yourself crackers. So you just be yourself and be authentic, and that's it. And that's a good thing.
Can I take us back to some of our early conversations before we actually started TGI Monday?
Yeah.
I remember around our table we were talking about branding, and we were talking about how transparent we are.
Yeah.
And as a show, we've worked as hard as we can to for example, Ros knits. So just knitting on the show is part of our transparency.
I do that in real life too.
And you do that in real
That's the
life.
key thing, isn't it?
But we also recognised that we couldn't show everything about ourselves, and we did have to project something of what we are so people can kind of get a sense of who we are.
My God.
And it's trying to find that balance, isn't it, between being completely authentic and transparent so that people don't feel cheated when they come to watch. But at the same time, you can't show them everything because we're really quite complex as human beings, aren't we?
But isn't that a reflection, I dare say this in sort of fourth theologians, but isn't that a reflection of God?
Go on.
We understand as Father, Son and Spirit. It's understanding the way we are and function in different roles in different ways.
And we can't be a
because
caricature.
because a teacher, for example, will not be the same in class as he or she is in the pub.
Yeah.
You can't do that. So we always
Some
do
try.
show. Well, but then they,
Anyway.
I think something that's interesting is that I think we've all sort of said in different ways, actually, we're happy to be authentic. We want people to see who we are. In a way, we're all quite comfortable, I think, in our identity. And I wonder that I don't get a sense that sort of in society as a whole, everybody feels like that. I think there are a lot of people who are trying to find themselves or, trying to work out who they are or who they want to be. And I wonder, so in the book, he uses the example of John the Baptist, and people say to John the Baptist, who are you? And, are you Elijah? No. Are you the prophets? No. And in the end, he comes back to identifying who he is in relation to the Lord Jesus. He says, I'm the voice of the one calling, prepare you the way of the Lord. And I wonder, do you think it is because we are all Christians that's helped us to feel more comfortable in our own identity? Or is there something, I don't know, more behind that?
I think there's a little bit of that. I think there is a bit of that, but I think the other danger we have sometimes as Christians is because the caricature of Christianity is so profound in our society, is some Christians actually will try and live up to the caricature rather than be themselves. I think that's one of the critical mistakes, I think, that I have to be a certain way to be a Christian. And I can't be bothered with that, I just get on with it. But I think that's part of it. And I think as well there's a lovely Smosh video. If you haven't seen Smosh, it's hilarious. It's great if you're 11. Right?
Okay.
And there's a video called Every Instagram Ever. And it's about
I've seen that.
it's about how people waste their lives by trying to project themselves through Instagram rather than living in the moment.
Oh, there's a fabulous Christian girl Instagram, and it's all about somebody, she's there and she's reading her Bible, but it's all about where do I put my Bible and, what accessory do I have beside it, and, all this kind of stuff to kind of, because obviously if you haven't Instagrammed it, have you really had your devotional? I mean,
And more than that, you get your own sense of value by how many likes you get.
Yeah.
It's a game.
How people are commenting.
That's
very
right.
toxic stuff.
That is right.
Very toxic.
Zoe, you had something you were going to share around this.
Doing a lot of learning about dementia as a deanery, but one of the best bits about what I'm doing is going with a team of people into a dementia care home, and we put together a blessing because actually fear of losing who I am is the thing that is the most terrifying bit for people, which is why we're doing the memory boxes too. But the blessing that we've come up with at the end, I think is really poignant, and it always makes me want to cry a bit actually, because it goes like this. May he who sees into the secret places of your mind beyond anything which limits you, to the person that is you, has always been, and will always be you, encircle you in his arms until that day when all is made new. And actually, that's something that applies for those living with dementia as much as it does to the rest of us.
Absolutely. No, that's really a great place to end, isn't it? Thinking about actually, it can be hard, can't it, sometimes to work out who we are, and there are different ways of identifying ourselves, but actually to come back to that understanding that God knows who we are, inside and outside, even when sometimes we don't know ourselves. I hope that's encouraging and reassuring to you, and thank you for watching.
So next time, Roz, we have a tough question. Make sure you know how to answer it as well.
Sorry. Who are you?
Well, I've known you.
Who do you think you are?
No point in faking it, is there? So, next time on TGI Mondays, we're talking about, does the church abandon the poor?
Who do you think you are?